Hi friends, welcome back to Nitved Bioscience. In today's video lecture, we are going to discuss about the three topics. The first, it is the general structure of amino acid. Second, what is the zwitterion? And third, about the isoelectric point. So first, let us start with the amino acid. What are amino acid? Amino acids, these are known as the monomers of protein. Monomers of proteins or building block of proteins, or in a simple language we can say that amino acids, for example, if this is a amino acids, so these amino acids, they will combine together and to form the proteins. Okay, so that means the amino acids, these are the monomers of protein. But directly going to our today's topic, that is the general structure. First let us have the brief view how from the amino acid we will get the proteins. So amino acids, they combine together with a bond. That bond is known as a covalent peptide bond. Okay, so through covalent peptide bond, if it is a short chain of the amino acid, around 2 to 50 amino acids, if it is a short chain of amino acid, then it is known as a peptide. Okay, amino acid combined together with the covalent peptide bond. If it is a short chain, then it is known as a peptide, short chain having the 2 to 50 amino acids, and more than 50 string of amino acids combined together with the covalent peptide bond. If it is a more than 50 amino acids, then it is known as a polypeptide. Okay, amino acid, polypeptide or polypeptide which combine together. So this is the primary structure of polypeptide. This polypeptide, this is having the primary structure. They will not fold into any specific structure, but when one or more polypeptide chain, they come together and they folded in a particular structure, yeah, which consists of the secondary, tertiary and the quaternary structures, and that will make the active globular protein. Okay, that will make active globular protein which is having the secondary, tertiary or quaternary structures and which is structurally and the functionally active. So, okay, so from this way we will get the protein. So amino acid combine to form the polypeptide chain. One or more polypeptide chain come together and they will join together in a specific orientation in a particular organized structure, and which will make the protein. Here what we had discussed, polypeptide has a covalent peptide bond or in a short peptide bond, but in the structure of the protein, apart from the peptide bond, it has a disulfide bond, hydrogen bond, ionic bond, van der Waals forces of attractions, etc., which will hold the one or more polypeptide chain, and it will form the structurally and the functionally active protein. Okay, so this is the brief idea. So in a series of the video lectures, we will cover everything about the primary, secondary, tertiary structures, all the forces and everything. Today, we will discuss the what are the amino acid. Okay, so this is the overall idea how amino acids combine and form the protein. So let us start our topic, that is the general structure of amino acid. Amino acid, each amino acid, it has a central carbon. Carbon is a tetravalent to which 4 groups are attached. Functional group COOH or carboxylic group, carboxylic acid. Amino group NH2, carboxylic group, amino group, hydrogen and R. This is the side chain. Okay, so all amino acid vary with respect to the side chain. These three is a common for all amino acid, and only the variation is here for the here in a R chain. So depending upon the R chain, there is a classification of the amino acids, which we will going to discuss in the next class in a topic classification of amino acid. Okay, so this is the general structures. Okay, when you study the structure, you will come to know one thing is that the polypeptide or the protein, it is a polymer of L-alpha amino acid. Okay, L-alpha amino acid. So amino acids, this is the general structure of amino acids. Why alpha? Because the functional group is COOH. The next carbon, the carbon next to the functional groups, we know that while we are doing the numbering, so the carbon next to the functional group is the alpha. Okay, if in the chain, so how we do the numbering or the nomenclature, so next carbon adjacent to the functional group is the alpha, then alpha, beta, gamma. Okay, so that's why this is the alpha carbon. Amino group is attached to this, therefore it is a alpha. And why L? L is for the orientations. Here amino group, it is present on the left side, so that is the L-alpha amino acids. Reverse will be the case if it is on the right side, so D-alpha amino acids. But most of the protein, naturally occurring the proteins, the amino acids present are the L-alpha amino acids. Okay, so polypeptide chain, okay, it is the string of L-alpha amino acid joined together with the covalent peptide bond. It has a carboxylic acid functional group, amino groups, hydrogen, and the R means the side chains, which will vary. There are, so now these amino acids, these are of two types, standard amino acids and the non-standard amino acid. First, let us discuss what are standard amino acids. Standard amino acids are 20 amino acids. These 20 amino acids are known as the standard amino acids, because although there are the more than 300 amino acids are present in nature, but biological proteins, these are made up of only these 20 amino acids in a various combination, because this amino acid has a genetic code which will help them to incorporate in during the formation of the protein or during the translation process. Apart from this 20 amino acid, there are two more amino acids. These are known as a rare amino acid. They are also the part of the standard amino acid. These are 21st selenocysteine and 22nd pyrrolysine. Okay, these are rare amino acids which will incorporate it into the proteins through the co-translation. Okay, and it has a genetic code UGA and UAG. These are generally the stop codons. Yeah, during the synthesis, these will act as a stop codon where the synthesis process will stop. But these two, selenocysteine and the pyrrolysines, these are these two amino acids have this genetic code, therefore they are the rare amino acid. Okay, so in that way, total standard amino acids are 22. And what are non-standard amino acid? Non-standard amino acid, it will not incorporate into the protein. Okay, it will not participate during the biosynthesis of the protein, but it has a many other biological functions, so therefore it is known as a non-standard amino acid. So example of a non-standard amino acids are D amino acids, non-protein amino acids, and amino acid derivative. Okay, so this is about the standard amino acid and non-standard amino acids. Okay, I hope everything is clear up to this point. General structure of amino acids. General structure has a yeah, I forgot one thing here. General structure. So yeah, this is very important point. Yeah, we had discussed that it has a carboxylic group, amino group, hydrogen, and the R. So this carbon is known as a chiral carbon or asymmetric carbon. Okay, this is known as a chiral carbon or the asymmetric carbon because it is attached to the 4 different group. Therefore, it is known as a chiral carbon, and this amino acid is known as a alpha amino acid because the first carbon which is attached to the carboxylic or the functional group. Okay, and then it will make the polypeptide chain. Okay, now discuss about the general structure of amino acids. Now we will discuss the what are the Zwitter ion. So this concept of the Zwitter ion is all about the charges on the amino acids. So before that, let us take the one example of any amino acid. Suppose this is the glycine. Glycine does not have the chiral center, what we had just discussed, because it is attached to the two hydrogen groups. What we had discussed in the chiral center, the carbon atom attached to the 4 different groups, but here the 2 hydrogen, therefore it is not a chiral center. So in the most of the amino acid, carboxylic group has a pKa value around the 2.3 and amino group has a pKa value around the 9.6. Okay, so in any particular pH value, what will be the charge on the amino acids? So for that, let us first draw a number line. Okay, we'll in the increasing order. So we'll draw here the we will write here the pK value for this carboxylic group and the 9.6. Okay, so this is the pK value for the carboxylic group and the 9.6. This is the range. Most of the amino acids has a this range of the pK value. So below this, it is a acidic pH, yeah, less than this, and this is a basic. So what will be the charges on the amino acid depending upon the acidic or the basic environment? Less than 2.3, yeah, if it is going below or any on the left side, so carboxylic group will retain hydrogen and this amino group will get protonated. So let's see how COOH, it will remain as it is, and NH3 positive, because one hydrogen atom will add here. So this will have under the acidic environment, it will have the +1 positive charge. Are you getting what is happening here? This is the pK value for the carboxyl group, pK value for the amino group. So if amino acid is going below the pK value, so here carboxylic group will remain as it is, amino group will have the 1 proton, therefore the +1 positive charge. As it will go beyond its pK value, so now what will happen? There is a removal, or it will lose 1 hydrogen atom here, loss of proton, and it will be like that, yeah. Below its pK value, it will be protonated. So below its 9.6 is pK value, so therefore this amino group will be protonated. Below its pK value, so here it will be protonated, therefore it will have the hydrogen, but here it will lose the hydrogens, and now we are going above its pK value. So now the structure will be like that. So now structure will be like CO negative NH2, because we are going above its pK value. So now it will lose the proton, it will be like that, and the hydrogen. So here we'll have the -1, and here no charges. Okay, zero charge. So at the pH in the range between the 2.6, it will have the both positive charge as well as the negative charge. So this ion is known as the Zwitter ion. Okay, and at the pH, the amino acid form, the Zwitter ion, is known as a isoelectric point. Okay, so this is all about the concept of the Zwitter ion and the isoelectric point. In a simple word, what are the Zwitter ion? Zwitter ion are those ion which has the both positive as well as the negative charges, means overall charge on the amino acid is a 0, neutral charge. Okay, below that it will have the +1, means, and the acidic environment it will act as a cation, and in the basic environment it will act as an anion. But at a particular pH, the amino acid has a both positive as well as the negative charge, therefore overall charge is 0, and that amino acid or that ion is known as a Zwitter ion, and the pH is known as a isoelectric point. So what is the significance of the isoelectric point? So at the isoelectric point, during the electrophoresis process, it will not move to any anode or cathode. Here, because of the charges, it will move towards the cathode. Because of negative charge, it will move towards the anode. But Zwitter ion will not move towards any anode or cathode. Okay, there will be no mobility, and the precipitation will take place. So this procedure is useful in the separation of the protein. Because of the precipitation, we will get the separated proteins. So this is all about the general structure, Zwitter ion, and the isoelectric point of the amino acids. In the next class, we will study the classification of amino acids. I hope this is useful to you. If you are finding it useful, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.